Hey everyone, this is Heather with Potomac Bead Company. Today I'm going to show you how to do one of our new projects using cup buttons. It's called the Cup Button Donut Wreath. Like I said, it uses cup buttons. You can also use crystals or rounds or any type of bead in the middle. I also have 8/0 seed beads that we're using. As you can see, I have two different sizes here. One is using about 8 cup buttons and this one's using about 10. And it is a little bit larger, so depending on what kind of string or chain you're using, whether you need a really heavy chain for the large pendant, just make note that the cup buttons are kind of heavy. So I am going to replicate the smaller version for you today. And as you can see here, these colors that I'm using on this one is in the Amber Picasso, as well as some magic beads in the 6mm and 4mm in the amber color. So for the project that we're doing today, you'll need the materials you'll need that I'm going to tell you. You'll probably need 8 cup buttons, and I'm using Jet Picasso. And you'll need 8 of them. You'll need a jump ring to hang your pendant on a chain. You'll also need some 8/0 seed beads, less than a gram maybe. And then you'll also need some 6mm beads. I'm using some 6mm magic crystals here in the blue violet. And you'll also need 4mm beads or crystals. For this project, I'm using the 4mm magic beads or magic crystals in the green, kind of to tie all the blue and green together. You'll also need a size 10 and 12 beading needle and some thread. 0.006 inch Fireline thread is what, or Wildfire thread is what I'm using. And for this project, I'm using a stop bead. We have a tutorial on how to apply a stop bead, but it's essentially bringing a small bead at the very bottom, leaving a good 6 inch of thread, and bringing your needle and thread through it twice. What this does, it just kind of holds your project in place so it's not moving around. This is going to be a very unstable project until we are finished. So let's go ahead and get started. With your stop bead and your thread and your needle, go ahead and add a cup button, and what you're going to do is take the cup button with the concave portion up so that the base portion is to the bottom, and then so one cup button, and then I'm going to add a 6mm crystal or bead, whichever, and then add another cup button with the concave portion going facing down so that it pretty much cups your bead, your 6mm bead. We're not going to add anything in between. We're just going to repeat the same process 4 times. So cup button, magic bead or 6mm, and then another cup button. And so we have 2 sets. We're going to do this 2 more times. Add a cup button, 6mm, and a cup button with the concave portion facing down. And one more time, cup button, 6mm, and then the cup button, our last cup button. And at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to create our circle. So we're going to take our needle and thread, and we're actually going to go through the top portion, the inner portion of our cup button, the one where the thread is originally coming out of. And that's going to secure our project. And what I'm going to do to reinforce this circle is take my needle and thread through a couple more cup buttons and making sure our thread is going to come out. We actually want it to at the top portion. So once your needle goes through one of these 6mm beads, what you want to do is bring your needle to the top portion, to the top button or the outer hole of your pendant, just like that. So now that we're going to work our outer edge. Don't know if you could see that visibly, but there is a thread right there that connects the lower or the inner holes, and we took our thread up to the top or the outer holes. Okay, now at this point what we're going to do is add our 8/0 seed beads. You're going to need about 5. So I'm going to pick up 5 8/0 seed beads, drop that down, and then take our needle through the outer hole of that cup button. Now in between each of these cup buttons, this is when we add our 4mm crystal or 4mm bead. Drop that down, and then take your needle through the outer hole of the next cup button. Add 5 8/0 seed beads, drop that down, and then take your needle through the outer portion or outer hole of your next cup button. And at this point we're in between 2 cup buttons, so I'm going to pick up a 4mm crystal, drop that down, and then take your needle through the outer hole of the cup button, of the next cup button. Pick up 5 8/0 seed beads and drop that down, and then take your needle through the outer hole or the second hole, which is facing the outer side. Now that we're in between 2 cup buttons, I'm going to pick up a 4mm crystal, drop that down, and then take our needle through the outer hole of the next cup button, and then just pull. I'm going to add 5 more seed beads, drop that down, and then take our needle through the outer hole of that next cup button. And now we're at our final or our last in between 2 cup buttons, picking up a 4mm crystal and dropping that down, and then tying the whole project together, going through that last hole, and kind of, if you can, re-threading those 8/0 seed beads that you had originally placed. And I'm just going to tie that through and kind of pull nicely. Now at this point we're actually at the part where we're going to add our jump ring here. Always want to add your jump ring where the crystal is. Otherwise, if we added another set, I've made this mistake once, you're going to have a double row of your 8/0 seed beads, and it's just going to look kind of tacky. So here we're going to add 6 8/0 seed beads, and then just add your jump ring. And you're going to take you're actually going to take your needle, skip that 4mm crystal that you have, and then take your needle through the next cup button and the remaining 8/0 seed beads that are in place, and then also your next cup button. Once again, all we're doing really is just kind of reinforcing our cup button by taking our needle and thread through those beads. And at this point, we are done with our project. We're just going to tie off our needle and thread. And to do that, what I'm going to do is just create half hitch knots and in between our 4mm crystal. And you can make your half hitch knots anywhere throughout the project. You just want to make sure that you're going to super glue them so that they don't get loose while you're wearing your project. That's the last thing that you want. And this is where it gets kind of a little bit tight because we're tightening our project. And you might have to bend your needle a little bit just to get those knots. And then once you're done with the outer layer, don't forget we have to tie off our thread from the inner layer. And so go ahead and take your stop bead off. And once you do that, you're going to feel a little bit of a leeway. And if you need to, you know, kind of make if you need to kind of pull your project a little bit so that you have some string, you don't want to pull it too tight, but go ahead and add your needle to your thread. And at this point, you're going to take your needle and thread and do the same thing that you did with your outer layer, finishing it off with some half-hitch knots and finalizing your project. And here's where we're going to kind of get our jump ring in place here. I'm going to position our jump ring in between those 6 8/0 seed beads that we have. So it's in between, I think in between 3 each on each side. So once you've done your half-hitch knots, you're ready, and you tie off your string here so they're not visible. You are ready to hang this on any type of chain that you have, or leather, whatever you want to do. Even if you want to link this together as a bracelet, you can do that too, but this is a pretty lightweight one, and this is a very simple project to do. And if you have any questions, just leave a comment, and we'll try to answer them for you. And come check us out in the store if you live locally, or we do sell our products online at PotomacBead.com, and check out our other YouTube videos. I hope this tutorial helped, and if you have any questions, like I said, we'll try to answer them. Thanks again for watching.